So today I'll show you how this amulet's made.
All right, what you got for me? I want to see this stuff.
So this is the chassis.
Uh-huh.
So we received this chassis from a company, but then actually this is getting worked by another 3 different companies.
Okay.
So one company does the injection molding.
Uh-huh.
The other one does the blue coating,
Right.
just like a sprayed paint. It's like 3 layers of it, and then there's another company that does the kind of the graphics, which is pad printing.
Right.
And then there's like a little friend of ours that installs the little LED pipes, the light pipes.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it's
It's heavy. It's got like a cool, and the finish is great. It's got that kind of rough matte finish to it.
Yeah, we
You got multi-colors as well. You got the gold and the white.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Cool.
like a dual color kind of thing.
Awesome. All right.
So that's the chassis.
Yep.
And then these are the PCBs that go inside. There's
Okay.
2 PCBs, and they get put together like this. There's like some like multi-pin connectors over here.
There's a lot going on these things. Wow, look at all that. That's not messing around.
There's about 320 components total in all of the PCBs.
That's cool.
So that's where the microcontroller is.
Yeah.
And where the kind of control inputs are. And then,
Awesome.
And then over on the other PCBs where the audio is kind of dealt and routed to different places. So these PCBs kind of get put together like that.
Right.
And then we receive...
Here's Mateo.
Yeah, here's Mateo.
Doing some assembly. Awesome. Thank you.
Actually, this is how we put the little... the firmware in the PCB. So this is a little machine that I made. So you slide the PCB in here. I actually can't remember how to do it, but basically you press this down, you press a button there, and that transfers the firmware into the microcontroller. Because
that's fun.
Because the microcontroller doesn't really know what it's gonna do today. So one day it could operate a gate. Yeah. You know, another day it could operate a light.
Right.
Today it's operating the sound bullet. So it's like a generic.
Well, hopefully it doesn't forget while it's in there.
Yeah, exactly. And then we received our favorite brand. Like Notric connectors.
Yeah. These things aren't cheap.
Yeah. So this is how we receive them.
Yep.
And then what we do is that...
Have you asked them to get them non-plastic wrapped? Because they'll do that sometimes. They'll send them in crates. They'll send them in boxes and get rid of the plastic opening. Save you a step and some environmental stuff. We do that.
Yeah, definitely.
They may or may not, but it's good to hit them up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then an operator solders the... We can't really see it just now, but like the little wires get soldered into the
Ladder cups
terminals.
there.
So
these things are like cool handmade, like an old MG midget or something. We got
exactly. Yeah. So these are the little kind of pre-prepared little wires.
Right.
That get soldered into the
connectors. That's awesome.
And then once that's done, they end up in this little container here. Yep. So that's where the
connectors get ready. That's cool.
So this is the...
where do the barcodes go?
The barcodes go onto the side of the speaker.
Okay.
Because the speaker...
Let me see. So the speaker and the battery are attached together.
Yeah. That is...
And is it... that's a cool little speaker. Now, where'd you get the speaker from? Is it...
The speaker is just like off the shelf. But the whole kind of acoustic box is a custom design and custom source.
Right.
Box.
Yeah, because it's so small, it does have a little bit of low end to it. You can hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is great.
And it gets kind of glued to the speaker to ensure that it doesn't move around.
Right.
So if you've got like a lot of stuff that's kind of...
The engineering on this thing is awesome. I mean, just so good. And they're heavy. I use these things for...
That's where the barcode is.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. That is so cool. There's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
It's a quality piece.
And like everything is custom design. Like for example, like the little the potentiometer knobs are custom.
Oh, you weren't messing around. You had those made. You had those molded as well.
Yeah. That's which has taken like a few months.
Right. And
then also this is like a custom.
Yeah, design. I saw that. And not only that, you've got this. This is metal, and you've got it coated with the same exact coating. Yeah. That is not messing around.
Yeah.
That is great.
And like, funnily enough, the paint that ends up in the threads acts as a thread lock.
Yeah, it kind of stops. You know? I noticed that. That the tolerance was enough for the paint to be in there and not have it get loose.
And then these are really kind of like, they probably look like very simple screws, but they're actually like custom as well.
You had custom screws made as well.
Yeah, because we wanted them.
And you got a washer built on. Is that a plastic washer?
Yeah, the washer is to isolate the XLR connectors from the chassis, which is made out of metal. So it's it's to make sure that.
So you actually had to do just a super low profile short screw.
Yeah, and the little washer is custom made as well. It's
made by finding screws is incredibly tough. I mean, getting the exact right screw that sits flush.
Yeah.
That's definitely been an issue for us in the past.
Yeah.
For Sound Tools products.
And this is another washer that goes in between the connector and the rest of the
to isolate it. Yeah.
To isolate it further.
Mm-hmm.
So like the touch points used to be the screw, the flange.
And why are you isolating the XLRs from the chassis instead of?
Because if you have an XLR with like pin 1 connected to the chassis of the XLR chassis, the continuity test would fail because it would pass through the chassis.
Got it. It would not give you a full continuity. It would show it good if pin 1 was lifted but the chassis was grounded. Yeah, it would. There you go. I get it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to kind of get your head around it.
No, I got it. Because the chassis would pass through. It would give you a false positive on the ground working.
Yeah.
If pin 1 was lifted but the shells were grounded to the shield.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. On the Sound Tools, on the rat sniffer. Since they're isolated, we don't have that, and we can use the chassis for power.
Oh yeah.
So and we don't check for the chassis ground. Now the chassis ground's an interesting concept because a lot of people don't. There's a debate of whether we should ground the chassis or not on an XLR.
Yeah.
And we don't do it at RAT. We don't with our cables. We don't do it. And I've actually had more problems with it grounded than I have not grounded.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Because a lot of times some equipment has ground lifts on it, and if the chassis is grounded of the XLR shell to the pin 1, the ground lifts don't work on anything because it shorts through it.
Yeah, definitely.
Or the cable, sorry for interrupting, the cable laying on the ground, the metal shell will touch something and cause buzz in your system, where if it's not grounded, it won't.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like controversy going from the kind of hi-fi going into the pro audio and like what to do with pin 1 and and there's like a lot of manufacturers do it in a different way because all of the kind of standards are they are there, but they're kind of a little bit hard to find, and like there's some people just presume stuff and
right.
So with like on future versions of this tester we're gonna be able to test the chassis continuity as well as the 3 pins.
Right. That's cool. You have like a 4-pin tester.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. So you got a new version coming out?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
How long?
Probably early 2024. Probably. Yeah,
awesome.
It's just a little while away.
Cool.
So I'll show you how it gets tested because everything is marvelous once you get it all built together. But sometimes we encounter issues. So basically we install it onto this little testing jig, which is this one here, and this is all kind of handmade. Okay,
so now what do we got here? We got a microphone, an Audix.
Yeah, so that's the microphone that tests the speaker output.
And you plugged it into the bottom jig there, and everything's kind of held in place. And you've got like a clamp, all right? So let's see what happens.
Actually, I'll pull out the Smart, because we use Smart to test the speaker and all of the inputs and outputs.
Okay.
It's going to take a little while to start, but there it is. Right. Spectrum. Right, so basically that kind of gets lowered for it to be kind of quick. So
now recently have you removed the locking on that?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Because it used to have the locking edge in there.
Yeah.
And now was that something you asked Neutrik to do, or?
We asked Neutrik to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess still to come into the production is probably going to get announced at the end of the year.
Okay.
So this one at the moment does latch.
It does latch. Okay, but you're removing the latch on that.
Yes.
That's cool. So you can be faster because there's no real reason to latch it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's something that.
So basically, without going into much details, like what happens is that we connect all of the connectors.
You connect everything.
Up, and then we do a series of tests. Like for example, we test for the phantom power indicators.
Yeah.
So by pressing this button, and we can test the pin 2 and pin 3 to make sure that
I see them.
We get them.
And
then also, this is quite a funny one. There's a button here which applies phantom power to the mini jack.
Got it.
Right. And this is to prevent. So I fried 2 MacBook Pros because I had an XLR to mini jack cable. And it was like a straight cable.
I've heard people had problems with phantom power going into some laptops. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So we thought if that ever occurs, the sun bullet must not fail. So this actually added a good month into the R&D.
So now, does it actually detect phantom power on the mini jack, or it just makes sure it doesn't fail?
Yeah, it just makes sure that it doesn't fail. So basically, what we do is that we plug it. We kind of make sure that we can hear the pink noise and stick the phantom power in there like quite brutally.
Right.
Because the thing is that when a mini jack enters the female counterpart, it's quite messy what happens with all of the pins because the tip touches the ring.
Yeah. It goes in and just messes.
So we kind of need to do it a few times.
Now, was it messing with it? With the phantom power, was it messing with the mini jack on the original?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. That's interesting.
Yeah. So like on the very first ones, like the phantom power and the mini jack would fry everything inside. So it took a good month of R&D to kind of implement the protections. And there used to be like these big connectors that were hand wired onto the PCB, but now everything is like into the production line.
That's cool.
So that gets tested, and then we go into the signals. And basically, what we do is that when we turn the sun bullet on, it starts to generate pink noise.
Yep.
So that goes out of the Mayo XLR and goes to Smart.
Great.
And it gets tested against reference trace, which is like the right one that you can see below. Then I switch it to 1 kilohertz, and then
we can see the tone there.
We can see like the 1 kilohertz, and we can notice what level it outputs at, and then we can check that all of the other 3 levels are what we expect to be.
Okay.
Like obviously this is like DBFS, so it wouldn't be DBU.
Yeah.
But we know that. For example, minus 40 equates to minus 56,
Great.
And then we also test that the jack output works. So we do this and we route it to the jack like this, and then this is the red trace that is compared against the reference. Then we also check that the input meter on the XLR works, and to do that I just press G on Smart, which Smart is amazing. I press G and that starts to generate, and I can see that the LEDs are working correctly. So basically what happens is that there are 4 signals sent. One is just below the signal threshold, one is just above the signal threshold, the third is just below the peak threshold, and the fourth is just above the peak threshold, and that's to make sure that the thresholds at which the input meter LEDs are set to are working, because the resistors inside may vary from a some bullet to the other kind of thing. So and then also what we do is that we press this little button here, which basically means that the pink noise that was previously sent to the XLR is now sent to the jack, so we can make sure that the jack does act as an input. So if I press the generator, it goes to the speaker. So if I unplug that, it doesn't work anymore.
We can hear the speaker.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, like the mini jack does get tested for output, and it does it in this way. So I should That should work.
So it's a really comprehensive test.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, we checked that the volume works.
Now you probably get pretty fast at this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You can power through it.
And then, like, the most interesting part is where we test that the speaker is compliant with whatever we, you know, we want it to be. So we just hit T, which is transfer function, and the transfer function appears. So the green is the live trace, which is what's actually coming from the speaker. So if I obstruct it, you can see it goes away. The red trace is the minimum acceptable. And then the yellow one is the kind of, you know, where it should ideally be. And then everything gets tested for, you know, like if by any chance, like this is like gonna move like back and forth, there's like a little adjustment. And this is like a thing I'm really proud about, but it's not that useful. Because this is like it's like a camera thing, and I kind of thought that's quite cute to have it there. So basically this sun bullet is compliant with what it's supposed to be. Oh yeah, and the very final test, which is really cool, is to check the continuity test works. So to do that, we enter the continuity test of the sun bullet. So now we can see that.
See it over here.
Actually, if I do this, and there's a little mirror here. Right?
Oh,
So right there.
Yeah.
The operator, can look at the, you know, at
continuity test.
The continuity. So I press these buttons here, and I make sure that every single pin is working as it should. So then I switch to pin number 2, and I go pin number 2 to 2, pin number 2 to pin number 2 to 1, pin number 2 to 2, pin number 2 to 3. And then I go to number 3 and go 1, 2, 3. So everything works.
So you've checked every possible fault, failure, calibration.
Yeah, exactly. But like after it gets assembled, you know, like a quick flash through is given, and also after like just before it goes into the packaging, it's tested again, just to make sure that like nothing is.
That's great. I mean, these things are beautiful pieces. I mean, they're like a little work of art, technology. I'll put that in upside down. That's cool.
And then, I don't know if you have any packagings going on here. Yeah, there's a box there.
Oh yeah, let's go look at the box.
Yeah. So this is like the box where the sun bullet goes into, and you know, this is pretty kind of self-explanatory, but that's where the protective
And it comes with a pouch. It's kind of like a Maglite pouch.
Yeah.
A little holder. Oh, and look, the pouch is that new? Was that always on there?
We've had it since like 2 months now.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that. You've put an XL, a 1/4-inch female into the pouch to hold the adapter.
Yeah, this is literally driven our supplier mental.
Look at that. That is cool.
This is made by a company in the north of Italy.
All right.
And they're really, really good because they really like to customize things for us. And this is probably the 26th version of the pouch.
Packaging is a big adventure.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of a fun adventure, but it's a big adventure. Yeah, and it's got the carabiner clip on it. That is really cool. And then you've got the charging cable here. Awesome.
Yeah. And
the box is quality built. Well, that's really cool.
And we love listening to our community, because we're all kind of really present on Facebook and stuff, and like the emails that people send. And there's a kind of really big request of people not having the carabiner, but a simple kind of like a belt strap, which like the belt, because I find myself using like the little
but not everybody has that.
But then quite a lot of people love to have like the
I know what you're talking about.
So like in the future we're gonna offer like the 2 different variants, so that people can choose to have the carabiner style or the like the belt strap.
Wow.
So that goes all into there. And that goes on top, and somehow, and then that goes in there, and the jack goes there, and then the sun bullet, before it goes in there, it gets tested for one last time. You can make sure that like all the buttons work and the continuity test works, and then once that's done, it goes in here, and it goes to our trusty customers.
Well, I know what for us selling them, we can't keep them in stock. We can't get them fast enough.
We can't either.
That's great. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
No
cool.
problem. Amazing.
This is good, and I look forward to working with you together on some other projects.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dave.
Cheers.